Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Content Narrative. We're looking at The Village Vicar by Julie Houston. So this was another book club read that we'd put together, and it's not in my vein of usual books, which is why I joined the book club, so I could try different genres, different books, and just kind of dip my toe, as it were. And this one is kind of like just a cozy little read that you can just curl up on the sofa, sort of go out your head for a couple of hours and just enjoy it. There's nothing like drastic that goes on in it. There's no murders. I mean, to be fair, when I first was reading it, for some reason I kept going, oh, someone's gonna get murdered soon, and I think that's because I read far too many murder mysteries. So I'm like, cozy little village, Vicar's just come back, someone's gonna die. Not in the way you think. But yeah, so it follows these three triplets. One's a vicar, one's a dentist, and one works in youth services. And the vicar, she's just come back. She was a big high-flying person in London, had a health scare, survived it, then went away, and has come back as a vicar to her hometown. And it just follows these three triplets as they're kind of getting used to grown-up life, because they're all in their 30s, and just sort of the next chapter that is in their lives as such. And that's about it, to be perfectly honest. There's not really much grit to it. I think with this one, because it starts off this series, I believe, so I think this is just almost like a prologue to the book series. But apart from a ton of affairs going on with everybody, and every character is like, oh, I'm going to sleep with someone, oh, I've slept with someone. Like, literally, I cannot believe the amount of affairs in this book. That's the only thing that I would say that I was genuinely a bit like, oh, they slept with, oh. I feel like I needed like a breakdown at the end of like who the characters were, who their partners were, and who they'd slept with. But there's not much that happens in it at all. It's just a nice kind of beginning of a series, I think. I think they were just setting up for the characters. I don't think they were actually trying to put this big thing. It was just kind of like, this is how so-and-so got here. This is how so-and-so got here. This is what their next step is going to look like, and you can tell that they're kind of setting up for something with how the book ends, and with the overall storyline. You kind of sat there going, okay, I finished it, what next? Now, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I probably won't be continuing with this book series, because I wasn't as invested with the characters as I'd like to be invested with them. And honestly, it was nice, it was okay, but personally I wasn't a massive fan. And I felt like the amount of, I cannot tell you how many affairs, honestly, but the amount of affairs that were in this book, I kind of felt like you'd use that plot point before, and then you use it for another person, and then you use it for another person, and then you used it for another person. And I felt like there could have been other different avenues maybe that this person could have gone down, apart from going, well, this person slept with this person, that's why this has happened, and so on and so forth. So it felt a bit overused, that. It's a shame, it really is. It's just, if you're looking for something to just kill a couple of hours, maybe, when you've got other things that you need to focus on, like if you're like an airport book or a beach book, where you're just trying to switch off, this is a good book for you, because you don't have to focus on the characters too much. Even if you dip out and you come back in, you're not gonna miss much catching up with it. So I would probably say give this a go, but I personally won't be rereading it, and I won't be continuing with the series. But this is why I try new books, to just dip my toe in and see how I feel. But obviously, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please leave it below in the comments. If you've read further into this book series and it does get juicy, again, please let me know. Like, I'd love to know if it gets better. But thank you very much for your continued support, and remember to always keep it contento.